and it let out this blood-curdling, guttural scream.
On the side of the road, he sees a deer carcass and something eating on it, which he thought was a bear. And as the lights hit it, it stood up. And, like, this gives me chills talking about it. He said it stood up and it had the face of a man.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bigfoot Live. We usually do a live show for our private group of Bigfoots of Michigan and the Bigfoots of America podcast show. And that's for our private group. We're getting a lot of positive response, so we're looking to increase the platform. Let me get my hat on here. So if you're watching out there, we're looking to increase the platform if the quality, see, I'm using the StreamYard platform right now, and then that is supposed to filter down to my personal profile page on Facebook, and then also our YouTube channel, which is called Bigfoots of America Michigan. If you haven't subscribed to that, like and subscribe to that platform. It's free. And then we're going to do a Bigfoot live show once a week where if this platform here, this StreamYard platform, comes out okay, because we've had some clarity issues. Now, what I do like about this platform is I will be able to invite guests on, and I'll have more control. And we've had some problems in our private group on Facebook. First of all, StreamYard doesn't necessarily stream live to our Facebook private group anymore. It seems it has this this phrase up there that says hey, you can't stream to a private group. So we're going to dig into that more, but the goal is to maybe be able to do it from this StreamYard platform so I have more control. Now I got to see something right here. Michael Gale, hey, you're on YouTube. Thanks. So, hey, we might be using this platform. If you're tuning in right now, Michael Gale is tuning in. He says hello. I can see the comments. I was worried about this on this platform, if I was going to be able to see comments or not. So, Michael Gale says, I'm a retired Army Ranger, and I've seen a Bigfoot with my night vision goggles in the 1980s. Hey, Michael Gale, if you could look down at the bottom of the screen here, we have an email, and the email is Bigfoots with an S, Bigfoots of America at gmail.com. You can see it scrolling down there at the bottom. If you can get a hold of me, man, we can get you on this show, talk live, record an episode, or I can even come possibly to the location. But we'll talk more about that. Shoot me an email. We also go around and film eyewitnesses at the location of their sightings. And that is our Bigfoots of Michigan TV series. But this is really blowing up, man. We're doing quite well with the show. And so we're looking to increase our platform, but also be able to more readily engage with our viewers. Hey, Jerry Lynch, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. You're tuning in. So both of you guys are tuning in on YouTube, and I appreciate that. Yeah, also in 2026. So let's talk about the YouTube platform really quick. I try to keep everything free. We've got enough gas prices, grocery prices out there, the economy, all of that over the past few years have gone through the roof. And so I try to keep everything free. But if you want to subscribe for $4.99 a month to our YouTube channel, that will be the exclusive platform that will get, like if we get a Bigfoot picture, it's going there to the YouTube channel first, okay? You're going to get things ahead of time. And then also you're going to get discounts on our merchandise. You know, we've got coffee cups These are great, man, because they go to 16 ounces right to the rim. But that's what we're looking to do. It's basically so we can accommodate our viewers better. So, yeah, very cool. I got some people chiming in from YouTube right now. This is also supposed to be streaming on the Facebook platform, my profile, Brian Sawyer. So follow me on Facebook as well. And then also, if this goes well tonight, if we like the clarity through StreamYard, then we'll expand it to, I think we've got Instagram. And then, of course, we're going to try to get it on our Bigfoots of America podcast show page as well. That way it's going out. I'm not doing 50 podcast shows a week. We're just doing 1 or 2 a week. We also have a Rumble platform that we just started recently. I don't think that'll connect to all of this. I think that has to be kept separate, but we'll dig into that more. I basically want to try to have basically 2 nights where I'm doing live podcast shows, because we also record a ton of podcast shows. If you go to our YouTube channel and you're viewing from our YouTube channel, you can see there that's where we post the TV series and the podcast show episodes. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing out there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Then this, I can see I can also invite guests, and that was a big problem on the Facebook private group. It's narrow. You got to have you can't have your phone like this on the horizontal widescreen. It's got to be like this, on the profile vertical. So then that limits me. And then when you try to bring other people in, it's cutting off half of our faces. So I'm hoping this platform really works out. But hey, man, let's get to it. This is going to be kind of a reiteration of some of the things we did last night, because this is a test run. But yeah, we wanted to announce a couple of things. We did a giveaway of our coffee cups 2 weeks ago, and we had 4 people. They sent emails to our Bigfoots of America gmail.com address. And yeah, Jacob Fortner, he's getting a free coffee cup and a bumper sticker. Let me grab a bumper sticker right here. You get a little care package when we do these free giveaways, and they're just kind of fun. Like we got our bumper stickers and our rubber bands. I love putting these on my tool chest. Yeah, I've got a couple on my truck out there, but also on my tool chest. They're great. And like I said, these cups are great. So we did a little giveaway a couple weeks ago. I want to reiterate this. Jacob Fortner was a winner. Lori Potter was a winner. I think she's chiming in. Lori said she'd be watching tonight. She's probably watching from the Facebook platform. So Jacob Fortner, Lori Potter, Bev Clark, and Caprice Bissonette, you all won free coffee cups and bumper stickers, and those will be getting sent out to you here shortly, probably in the next week or 2. I have to get some more shipping boxes. I am out of shipping boxes. That's what's going on. We also have an Etsy channel and our website, bigfootsofmichigan.com. We sell merchandise like these hot hats. We're out of those for this year, but 2026, early, I think March, April, we get another shipment of those in. So yeah, so those are the winners. Talked about our merchandise. Next year, 2026, we are going to deal more with the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There's been a recent sighting there. It was said that the DNR, officially had a sighting. That's not true from my understanding. But at the lower, the top portion of the Upper Peninsula on the Lake Superior shoreline, there is supposedly a Bigfoot that got caught on thermal by the DNR. So I also have sightings there. Trisilla Berlin, I've been out and I've talked to her and I found footprints with her. She showed me her areas. So I'd like to get up there, do an episode with her. Cheryl Green, who is one of our moderators on our Facebook private group. Up in the Porcupine Mountain areas, there's clans of Bigfoot up there. We want to get up there. And then also, I believe it's Christine Dunlop. Had a sighting in Newberry in the UP of a black Bigfoot and a white Bigfoot together. So we want to get up there in 2026. We're going to take 3 to 6 days, interview multiple eyewitnesses, and take a tour of the UP and do a special on that. That'll be part of the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series and also the feature film we're working on called Bigfoot Empire. So, Michael Gale, 8:06 p.m. Just getting older, aren't we all, my friend? But thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Okay, we're just checking all this out. Very cool, very cool. All right. New stream. So learning about this platform right now. Okay, comments on. Let's try that. Size regular. Yeah, interesting. So I've got more to learn about this platform. All right, cool. There, comments are on live. All right, we want to see that. All right, cool. All right, also let's talk about the town hall meetings that are coming in 2026. Like I said, if you're part of our private group, you heard some of this last night, but for the public, because this is a public now podcast show, we are going to do a town hall meeting at currently 2 locations, one in Traverse City and then one in Monroe, Michigan. And we might also add like a Grand Rapids area podcast show, but for sure, 2026, probably September, October. We'll have the dates for you come by March 2nd of 2026. I've got a deadline of March 2nd on all of my submissions for all of the shows, and we'll know more then. But Traverse City and Monroe, Michigan, we're going to do town hall meetings. So if you've had any kind of paranormal encounters, you can come to these town halls and in front of a live audience, you can share your Bigfoot encounter. We're going to have cameras there. We'll be filming for the TV show and also the feature film that we're doing. So you'll be able to be on cameras. You'll be able to sign a light waiver. But yeah, so prepare yourself for that. Traverse City and Monroe, Michigan. I mean, it's funny because, we had a recent Monroe monster sighting early in the spring where a gentleman, a father and a son, were both fishing in the river. I believe it was called Plum Creek, which filters into Lake Erie, I believe it is. And all those wetlands in that area. Well, they were both fishing on Plum Creek, and a Sasquatch was up in a tree about 10 feet up and jumped down, scared him half to death. Then the dog chased it off. And that is the account where they said it was running so fast you could barely see its legs. And yeah, so what's interesting about that is you've heard about that one. Well, I know of 2 to 3 more sightings in that general area because I've learned through the grapevine or people have contacted me, like Scott Brush of Urban Bigfoot. And there's been multiple sightings in the spring of 2025 in Monroe, Michigan, not just the one. And then we've had multiple sightings up here in the Thumbs. And these are the things you're not always going to hear on the news. So if you want to get caught up on recent sightings, like oh my gosh, where do I start about 2025? This was last year I caught a Bigfoot on our thermal camera, and that's in our season 2 of our Bigfoots of Michigan TV series. I believe that's episode 9 or 10 called The Watchers Among the Trees. I think it's, yeah, or it might be 11, episode 11, The Watchers Among the Trees. But yeah, caught a thermal of a Bigfoot sneaking up behind me. We measured it the next morning. It was 8 to 9 feet tall. But this past year, I finally heard, being out in the field, I finally heard the samurai chatter. Last year, I heard him talk, very low syllables. It's out of this world. When a Sasquatch talks, normally, or does the samurai chatter, and then I also heard my huge, big Sierra sound type howls as well this past year. It's almost life changing because these things, when you hear them vocalize, it's like nothing you've ever heard before. So, yeah, man, it's been a great year. So we'll have some of that coming up. Some of that's in season 2 episodes, and also will be coming up more in season 3 episodes. But yeah, so we've had a lot of activity going on. So if you're out there thinking, oh, there's been one sighting, because that was the only story that was on the local news. Oh no, there's been a ton more sightings. There's been 2 sightings in the Croswell area. I got out with Jerry Lentz, who's tuning in right now from our YouTube platform. We got up to his property. He's had activity out there. Beaverton. I can't even think. We've been to Beaverton. Last year, Traverse City. We've been out in the Grand Rapids area this year, filming with Susan Moore, who has had a dogman sighting. So if you're out there and you are skeptical about all of this paranormal stuff, this is a platform to tune in because we are talking to the eyewitnesses. So Bigfoot, UFOs, oh my gosh, Susan Moore and another one of our followers, Christine Lee, have both had pterodactyl sightings. So we're in a time when things are getting weird. They're getting strange. Depending on your point of view, like with me, my Christian background, and how all this stuff could possibly connect to the Bible and the Genesis 6 narrative, the book of Enoch, all of that. The Bible describes that in the last days, all this crazy kind of stuff is going to be happening. So that's a lot of the reason why we're doing the show, man. We're trying to get the information out there. So yeah, this is the platform if you want to be kept up on current and recent Bigfoot sightings. So we talked about the town hall, Monroe, Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, coming in 2026, and then possible Grand Rapids area. We're going to start with smaller venues for those. Probably like VFW halls. Boy, there is a bigger place in Monroe, Michigan I'd like to rent out, but we'll see how that goes. And we're going to see how many people show up this year, So if you've had a sighting, think about it, write it out, bullet point it out, because when you get in front of the cameras and a live studio audience, sometimes even I get a little bit nervous. You're going to be able to keep your thoughts on track. Also, okay, we're just kind of doing updates right now. What's going on here at the Bigfoots of America podcast show and the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series? We are working on. So I'm sitting in the Bigfoots of America podcast studio here in Sandusky, Michigan. I've got a bunch of podcast equipment, and we are thinking and going to in 2026 go mobile with the podcast show. Been at a couple of festivals this past year, South Carolina Bigfoot Festival, and there is a desire for a live podcast show to be going on. And so we hope to bring that to some of these Bigfoot festivals here in Michigan, and then also wherever else we get invited to. Of course, we will submit as well. So yeah, the Bigfoots of America podcast show will be going mobile in 2026. Now, if you're not familiar with our show, if you're out there and you're probably on my Facebook, if you're on our YouTube channel, you kind of understand what's going on. But if you're just following me on Facebook, I think I've got 6.5 thousand followers, I think the last time I looked, and it keeps going up. Let's familiarize you more with some of our eyewitnesses. If you go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, it's free. You can get familiar with some of our eyewitnesses. Linda Pomrenke, she is a gal out there, and she has been, and I think her organization is the Southeast Michigan Bigfoot Researchers. I'll have to double check on that. But she gets out there, and she's got an episode, and it's episode 30 on the Bigfoots of America podcast show. And Linda, in that episode, talks about how she was bluff charged by a Sasquatch. Episode 31, Jerry Lou Patterson. Him and his wife are an exorcist team, and they've talked about exorcising houses where, like, if you have a haunted house that you're living in and you want the entities, you want the ghosts or the demons to get out, Jerry Lou Patterson and his wife will come in and exercise and do their thing and get the ghosts to leave. Another example is David Walker. He is an author, and he wrote this book. I don't know if you can see it here. It's called Supernatural Cryptids and Return of the Nephilim. David does a spectacular job in this book connecting everything like UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, all these other type of creatures. He does a great job of connecting that to the biblical narrative. And in his book, he's got some just spectacular pictures. He's got this famous picture of the dog man. So that right there is supposed to be a legitimate picture of a dog man. Everybody, most people are familiar with Bigfoot. You know, they think Bigfoot, and even the people who are not too familiar, they are aware of the existence of Bigfoot, whether they believe in it or not. But a lot of people are just getting their feet wet with the topic of dogman. So if you check out David Walker's book, Supernatural Cryptids and the Return of the Nephilim, I believe you can buy this on Amazon. That's where I got it from. He's in like 3 of our episodes. We've got one more to record, and that's how much material he has in his books. And I was very thankful for David's book because I had, you know, people ask me, how'd you get started in this? Well, I was involved in the independent filmmaking business here in Michigan, the Detroit, Michigan, suburbs of Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, as an actor for quite some time. And I got familiar with how things are done. And then at a point in time, just about 3 years ago, everything kind of fell in place. We had a sighting. My father passed away. I moved up to Sandusky, Michigan to take over his house. I was renovating his house, moved in here, and we had a Bigfoot sighting down the road. And then I had a fairy sighting. That's right. I said a fairy sighting inside my house. My dad's house had been sitting vacant for a couple of years, so I would come and I would renovate it. And one of the days that I was in there was a fairy floating right in front of my face. Now, I won't go into that right now, but I talk about that in a lot of the episodes on our YouTube channel. How it spoke to me, how I replied to it, and its reaction. So David had written this book, and I hadn't heard, you know, the fairy I saw was of a bluish gray color, and it was definitely a female. Well, I was happy to come across author David Walker, in his book because they talk about fairies in this book. So as my journey escalated, I got more and more with this whole Bigfoot world. This is a whole genre. You know, if you go out there and you watch TVs and you watch comedies and action film and scary movies, horror, well, the subject of Bigfoot, Dogman, UFOs is its own category, the paranormal genre, the cryptid genre. And so as I got more involved, I met more people. And one of the other people I met from the NCI team, if you look up in the corner here, you'll see the Channel 12 TV network. And that is one of the streaming platforms that has picked up the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series and the Bigfoots of America podcast show. But I met a whole team of Bigfoot investigators called the North Carolina Investigators. And one of the team members, with a co-founding member, is a guy by the name of George Lunsford. And boy, he is an author, and I've got 3 of his books right now. He's coming out with a 4th book. And his 3 books, Legends, Myth, Monsters, and Ghosts, the USA edition. And then I've got Legends, Myth, Monsters, and Ghosts, the North American edition. And then right back here, I've got Monsters of the World by George Lunsford, and this is like a quick reference guide that if you've come across some kind of strange entity, because we also hear there's Bigfoot, there's Dogman, but if you go in here, you're going to learn about all these other types of creatures, sea creatures, um, the Yowie from Australia. I mean, he's got it all in this book here, and it is a spectacular reference guide. So if you get a chance, I mean, I can just go on from absolutely amazing. The Leshy, which is some sort of giant. So yeah, check out his books. But anyways, I got associated with the NCI team. I just recently was down at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival with them, and boy, so much fun. So, but on the Channel 12 TV network, there's a podcast show called the NCI Investigates. We are on live every Tuesday and Thursday nights. So, wanted to throw that in there. Back to the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series and the Bigfoots of America podcast show. So many of our eyewitnesses, their lives have been changed by their encounters. And you wonder why, like, okay, hey, I knew this person 10 years ago, and now all of a sudden they're into Bigfoot. Well, it's because Bigfoot, when you have an encounter with a Bigfoot or something paranormal, it shocks you. It shakes your whole paradigm. Your whole outlook or view of life gets changed and gets shaken. So you have to process a certain way. For most people, you need to talk about it. You need to get it out there. One of our eyewitnesses, Brenda Goodwin from Michigan, she has a location that she lives in Kalamazoo County. That'll be one of our episodes coming up in season 3. She's also been on the Bigfoots of America podcast show. She lives in a place I call the Michigan Skinwalker Ranch. And she has had so many encounters, Dogman, Bigfoot, UFOs, you name it, she's had it. All right, so now I see, as I learn more about this platform, I'm starting to see the comments here, trying to get access to it. Let's see here. So playing around. Okay, all right. Hold on just a second, everybody. As I learn about this, I just wanted to go ahead and do a live show and learn about this. Okay, so this is not scrolling. Okay. But I can see the comments right down here in the corner, right there. But they are very small. So I need to get those bigger. I could see them earlier. All right. Michael Gale says, boy, that is so true. Yeah, this is interesting because it's not easy for me to access or see them. And just by touching on it, I lost it. So live starred tonight, Brother Brian. Boom Boom Sawyer. What's going on? Who is now? All right, so who's this from? David Ibarra. What's up, my friend? Hey, David, we're trying a new platform. You know, we do the Bigfoot Live every Friday night on the private group, but I'm looking for a platform to share it on the YouTube channel. If it goes to my Facebook profile, that's cool, but it says I can also share it on my Instagram and other social media platforms. So if I can get it all in one place, then I will do that. Somebody says, Intel, I've seen it with my own eyes. All right. Well, I've got to play with this. So if you guys bear with me here to see how I can access all of this better. It's got everything off to the side here. It's too small for me to read there. Interesting. All right, let's try something here. Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. So back to that. Doesn't seem like it should be that way. Live one, so starred one, live one. Boom Sawyer, what time is it in Michigan? It is going on 8:30 right now. We're probably gonna roll till 9 o'clock. I need to get better at this. I'll go back to some comments. You're in Lacey, Washington? Live? All right. I've got this, man. I've got to get this removed. All right. We appreciate that. Wow. Okay. So Jason Finch. Hey, Jason, thanks for tuning in. You are tuning in on our YouTube channel. Um, Subscribe and like to the YouTube channel. It's free. If you want to go to the $4.99, and we're not going to go above $4.99, so that's a big shout out. At least not for the 2026 season. So I wouldn't do that for another year and a half. We're going to keep it right at $4.99. We're not necessarily in it for the money. We're in it to give free and low cost entertainment. Jason Finch, so thanks for tuning in. It is 5:29 in the evening in Lacey, Washington. Thanks, brother, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Got to learn how to get this one thing out of the way, though. So that was Jason Finch. Thank you so much. See, now I can scroll down. Michael Gale. Michael Gale says he never believed in Bigfoot. Interesting. You know, I wonder. I'm going to try that next time. You got new comments down there? Oh, thank you, Jason. Jason Finch says you are always welcome. But seriously, I appreciate it, brother. Just kind of trying to bring the Bigfoot community. Like I was saying, man, it's so expensive out there. I love doing this stuff. I got a passion for it. I love people. I love getting out there and interviewing people. And so we just want to increase this platform. So I really appreciate everybody who's on our YouTube channel. But as I was saying, if you become a gold member, you will get any kind of Bigfoot, authentic Bigfoot pictures, audio, video. You're all going to get it first. And then, of course, you get the discounts on the merchandise. And that helps put gas in my tank. I mean, honestly, that's it, man. You're putting gas in my tank so I can go do another episode. If anybody knows me, you know we have been going, man, we've been going full tilt now for 2 years. And we're doing a total of 5 seasons, and then we're going to take it from there because we want to do the 5 seasons and then release the feature film called Bigfoot Empire. And then we'll probably keep making more episodes. Washington, sweet. Just seeing how the window for me to scroll down and see all the comments. All right. Jason Finch and Michael Gale, David Ibarra, Jerry Lentz. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Appreciate all you guys. All right. So I'm going to leave that right there. I think if I leave it right there, then I can see the new comments. And then I just wish, so all the comments right here, I wish were bigger. Can't post. So what is this? All destinations. Okay, so that's what that is. Okay, very cool, very cool. All right, I'm gonna try to scroll up for a minute, guys. All right, so we got to leave it at that. All right, so it has been an amazing journey. You know, we talked about George Lunsford, author David Walker, left off with Brenda Goodwin, Kalamazoo County, Michigan, what I call the Skinwalker Ranch. Multiple encounters with multiple different types of creatures, beings, entities, including Sasquatch, Dogman, and UFOs. Audrey Gallus, we just did her. She's one of our recent episodes that we just released. Episode 38. She was up by Rennie Lake, Michigan, just walking on the trails, and a juvenile Sasquatch started following her, paralleling her. So that's a cool episode. Um, Michael Webb, let's talk about Michael Webb for a second. He is the next episode we're releasing. That's going to be episode 39 of the Bigfoots of America podcast show. He wrote this Echoes in the Hollows book. So if you want to check out Michael Webb's book, but he is also the guy who just recently started the whole Monsters Unleashed profile page group, all of that on Facebook. He's going to be our next episode, and he's got a picture of a Sasquatch. And it's funny because, you know what? Let me show it to you real quick. He's got a Sasquatch by some railroad tracks. And it's off in a distance, and it almost kind of looks like a blob. I'm just going to show you right here. This is it right here. So this right here is Sasquatch. These little toy train looking type tracks are full size train tracks. Okay. This is a Sasquatch right there. Look at the size of that thing. Well, when Michael put this into the AI machine, so to speak, it spit out the information that AI believed this to be a North American Sasquatch, a Bigfoot. So I hope to get to this location in 2026 and do some more interviewing about this picture. And I think it might have been Michael's daughter who got this picture off, but it was taken from like an overpass or a watchtower, and they're looking down, and it was like this Bigfoot was looking back up with them, at them. So look how big that thing is compared to these railroad tracks. So yeah, I'd like to dig into this picture more to see, the size, get the size of this thing. I think it's standing up. Yeah, I think it's standing up. Sometimes their legs are really short. You guys know that. All right. Hey, could someone else, if you're still watching this, could you make another comment? I don't care if you just put A, B, C, D, E. I want to see how it reacts on my end as I learn more about this platform. So if it automatically scrolls when somebody types something in, I would appreciate that. Also, let's see. This is Bigfoot. All right, it automatically scrolled. Michael Gill, you're awesome, man. I appreciate it, man. So that's going to help me not have to mess with it. I can just kind of watch it. So here is a recent picture. Donna Copus is one of our eyewitnesses. And if you know anything about Donna Copus, she is a matriarch of the Shawnee tribe of, I believe it's the Wolf and the Raven clan. Correct me, Donna. In southeastern Ohio. She has an upcoming episode in our season 3 of the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series. She has had multiple Sasquatch sightings. Well, here's one of the pictures she got off, and it'll be kind of blurry for you guys. And she calls them watchers. There's a watcher moving across a field there. You can see part of it. Sorry about the studio lights. And then also, this was one she got off, and we're like, oh my goodness. You try to figure out if it's pareidolia, if it's just our digital phones, but this looks like what I kind of lean towards the dog man on this one with a possible ear here. And it looks like it's kind of down coming towards Donna. We talked about that on the other show last night of our private group. And some of these, like I believe this one could be a real one. That's a game camera picture. Now, if I can, I'll find the one I got off. Man, I believe this one could be real. That's a great camera, game camera pic. Oh, thank you, David. Yep, here you go, bro. Yeah, it scrolled itself. It's really funny because I can see in the corner here of my screen your comments, but they're so small I can't read them. But then it has another window over here to the right where it automatically scrolls. But even that window, though, is narrow. So I can only see in that window like two lines. So it says David Ibarra, 8:37 p.m. And then it says, here you go, bro. So I appreciate that. Well, at least it's something because this show to me doesn't work unless I can interact with the people watching it. But I know though I can invite guests on and have a better framing of our guests because the Bigfoot Live on the private group, like I said before, it cuts half of our faces off. I'm gonna look for. Oh, also out there, this is a big deal to me. So if you know the biblical narrative, so let's talk about that for a second because that's going to lead into something I want to ask all of you. If you know the biblical narrative, the book of Enoch, the Genesis 6 connection, you know that when the watchers, formerly of part of the heavenly realm, came down, we know that 200 of them came down. Shemiyaza, Azazel, his group, they came down, decided to get it on with earthly women. Googles, and wow, it was crazy. Giggles? Are you saying giggles? All right, so I got to try to see this comment in full. Doggone it. This is the only thing I don't like, but we're going to keep working on this. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Jason Finch says, I always subscribe to your channel, and we appreciate that, brother. Yeah, email me, man. We'll send you a free coffee mug and bumper sticker, man. You're, go ahead and send us your address, and we'll get it sent out. Brother, you are amazing, awesome, and appreciated. Thank you very much, Jason. Man, we appreciate it. We're going to keep trying to bring you good content. But speaking of this, back to so you think about the whole biblical narrative. I got to get a drink of coffee. So the whole Bible connection. Watchers come down, they get it on with earthly women. Now, long story short, we know that they spawned giants, and also the book of giants and the book of monsters, which were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, also talk about how these angels got it on with almost every type of living creature. And that's why we have things like Bigfoot out there, fairies out there. I would have never believed in fairies until I had my own sighting with one. You wouldn't have been able to convince me. I got two boys. We don't sit around watching Peter Pan. I always say this. I don't sit around thinking about fairies. So when this female fairy was in front of my face, my whole paradigm was blown. And then the whole Bigfoot thing started coming in and everything I've experienced since then. But so we know about that, the watchers. Well, there was also supposedly a possible curse put on the women who, had sex with the angels. These fallen angels are now, or whatever they're called, watchers. Now, we're not, with that said, you have to decide whether you want to think if all these are bad or if there are some bad, some good. I know how I think. I'm learning more every day. But supposedly, pulling this picture up really quick here, the women were cursed as well. And they were made into, there's a picture of a mermaid. But the bigger category, mermaid, is a subcategory of what's called sirens. And some of these sirens were mermaids, but some of these sirens also had like wings. And there's different types of sirens. A mermaid is a type of siren. If anyone has any exposure to mermaids or sirens or any kind of stories, we'd like to include that on the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series and the Bigfoots of Michigan podcast show. So we'd like to bring that element into it. I know I've talked to a couple people before. They're going to bring in their opinions about that, but that is another one I'd like to tackle and dig deeper into that. Because here, like this is a picture. So if you want to think I'm crazy, and say, oh, mermaids don't exist. This is a picture of the ancient god Dagon. You know, Dagon came up out of the water, half man, half fish. Remember, these fallen watcher entity, whatever class of angels they were, they came down and got it on with all sorts of different types of creatures. And so there's an ancient picture or the ancient idea of the god Dagon. You know, we've got multiple pictures of this fish type creature. And then David Ibera, you know, brother, not to insult the Catholic Church, but there's a question there with some of the Pope's hats and the priest hats they wear. They're similar to the Dagon, and that's a whole nother. You know, we know that some of these are AI generated, but I think these are cool looking. And even though they may be AI generated, this is actually my favorite one right here. It gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. All right, Michael Gale says, right on, 100%, my friend. Thank you for that comment there, sir. I'm going to see, and you've probably, for my subscribers, you've probably seen this. Oh, here we go. So while we're on the biblical narrative, let me read to you some excerpts from the Book of Giants, all right? So it starts with these fallen watcher class angels decided to pervert God's creation, and they got it on with 200 donkeys, 200 asses, 200 rams of the flock, 200 goats, 200 beasts of the field, and from every animal and every bird, they instituted this is a big word, miscegenation. I got to get better at saying that word. Miscegenation. In other words, they were getting it on. They were interbreeding with all these types of creatures. Bear with me as I mess that up. Mentions about seeing. Okay, what do we got here? Trying to scroll down. I don't want to lose it. The book of Daniel. I would have to let's get you on the next show, Michael Gale. Let's get that set up. I can invite you on the next episode. I can't invite after the fact. I have to do it prior. So we will get you on the next show. How's that sound? And we will get you on and talk to you. So the book of Daniel mentions about seeing, he interprets it as beasts. Okay, very cool. And that's David Ibera's comment. But Michael Gale, yeah, we will invite you on the next show, okay? So which will probably be hopefully be next Saturday. So plan on Saturday, email me at bigfootsofamerica@gmail.com, and then we'll talk and we'll get that worked out. So then it says, thereupon two of them had dreams, and sleep in their eyes fled from them, and they arose and came in their dreams, and they assembled with the monsters, inasmuch as their children the murder of their beloved ones they shall see. They had dreams that they were going to see the murder of their beloved ones and the destruction of their children, and they shall lament and make supplication unto eternity. So yeah, 200 angelic beings called the Watchers made a pact to defy God and descended to earth in the days of Jared. They took human women as wives and had sexual intercourse with them. Their wives gave birth to hybrid giants. The Watchers taught their wives and children the secrets of heaven, and the human race was beguiled by the forbidden knowledge. So now this is where I throw in my own opinion. I think God really wanted to keep things simple down here on planet Earth. We're all farmers and just kind of growing our own food and enjoying life. Where the modern day realm right now, we're all so busy, going to work, coming home, trying to get money to put food on the table. It's so busy, busy, busy. I don't think that was God's original intention for mankind. The giants began, so the watchers beguiled 200 watchers, beguiled earthly women, started spawning giants and monsters, and the giants began to rule over the inhabitants of the earth. The watchers chose animals from diverse species, 200 of each kind, in order to copulate with them and progenerate genetic apparitions. The animals conceived hybrid monsters according to their respective species. This is all from the Book of Giants. Nearly all life, and this is the important part, nearly all life on the planet became genetically corrupted and flesh eating. All right. So there's a narrative out there that the giants started eating the humans, and then the humans' cries went up to God, went up to the heavens. And then what did God do, everybody? Man, that flood, Noah's flood came, and the goal was to wipe out as many of these things as possible. Because it says all flesh was corrupted except for Noah and his sons. And the giants and the monsters terrorized the earth and devoured the human race. There it is right there. The giants began to have foreboding dreams and visions that deeply troubled them. They decided to seek out Enoch to interpret the dreams. Enoch presents them with a copy of the tablet addressed to the watchers, pronouncing a terrible judgment from God upon them, their wives, and their children. So there's their wives. Did they become the sirens, the mermaids, the winged female creatures, the fairies? I saw a fairy. I'm wide awake. I see a fairy. I'm telling you guys. So the giants are in denial concerning their inevitable fate. The watchers come to the assembly of all their offspring, and with great sorrow and weeping, verify terrible judgment written on the tablets. The giants. So now, if you've ever seen the movies out there called Clash of the Titans, this is the thought, because what I'm about to read you supposedly transposed into Greek mythology and became what we know as the Clash of the Titans. There's movies out there called Clash of the Titans. And this excerpt 15 from the Book of Giants says the giants, enticed by the angel of heaven, make war with one another and annihilate themselves. That became the Clash of the Titans that we now know today from Greek mythology. The Watchers are then bound by the angels of heaven and imprisoned in the abyss. In the abyss, I've heard other things like under the river Euphrates. Wow, I didn't mean to get that far off into the whole biblical narrative tonight, but that's, I guess, what's going on. The great flood then destroys all life on earth except Noah, his two sons, and their wives. Wow. So there you have it. That is from the Book of Giants. Take it or leave it. You've got to decide. Everybody out there, I've heard of the good stories of Bigfoot rescuing children. There's some wonderful stories out there about Bigfoot rescuing children, helping people who've gotten lost. But then there's also the dire messages as well. I say don't go out alone. There's more Bigfoot than you ever imagined. They're closer to urban areas than you've ever thought. And yeah, just go out there, be careful like any other time. Okay. Yeah, so Michael Gale, you email me and we'll try to get you on the show next time. Yep, David DeBear says hybrids. There we go. Michael Gale says, okay, I've been on different shows. I have pictures. Fantastic, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, email me, bigfootsofamerica@gmail.com. We'll get you on one of our live shows, but also an episode on the Bigfoots of America podcast show. So you have pictures and videos of a UFO. Spectacular, Michael. Can't wait to talk to you. That's interesting. All right, so I've got an idea, which I think I'm going to be able to fix next time. I want to read all these. Yeah, so David Ibarra brings up the fact that the disembodied spirits of the giants from back in Noah's day that were wiped out by the flood are now known today as what we call demons. Yep. Something about sea animals. They didn't have a show. All right. Lance Sexton, what's going on? Interesting. Yeah, I try to be, I have my own belief system. Everybody out there, you got to decide what you want to believe. But the Bible does say in Luke 21:11, it says in the last days, of course, you'll see earthquakes in diverse places, but you will also see fearful sights and signs from the heavens. Now, according to the original Greek, that translation of fearful sights is the word phobotron. And phobotron in the original Greek means monsters. So to me, fearful sights can mean monsters, can mean Bigfoot, can mean Dogman, can mean all these other creatures. And then it also goes on to say, you will see signs from the heavens, Oranos, and Apo, some things that will descend from the sky. So for me, if we're questioning about all these Bigfoot sightings and these UFO sightings, and they seem to be increasing here in the last days, then we can kind of say, hey, even Jesus said, in the last days, you will see Bigfoot type creatures and UFOs descending from the sky. But that is Luke 21:11, the translation in the Greek of fearful sights and some things that will descend from the sky. I mean, and there's other things like Isaiah 13:3 interpreted in the Greek. God talks about sending giants to fulfill his wrath. That's an interpretation there. If you were just to read it like in the NIV or something, it says warriors or something like that. But in the original Septuagint, the Greek translation, that warriors is transposed to giants. Yeah, and Luke 21:26 talks about in the last days men's hearts will fail them for the fear that of the things that are coming upon the earth. That could be interpreted as monsters. So now, man, I don't know if I want to say this, but now this is crazy stuff. Think about zombies. I know sounds crazy. Zombies, you see them in the movies, all right? Well, guess what? What if that's true? What if there's a COVID type disease out there which affects the nervous system and people become like zombies? That throws in the idea, does Hollywood know about this stuff? See, now I'm getting on the conspiracy theory. I heard a narrative that the CIA briefs Hollywood, and that's when Hollywood comes out with some of these movies. And one of these briefings in the past, the CIA was briefing Steven Spielberg. And out of that briefing, Steven Spielberg made two movies, Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. But what's different in the E.T. narrative movie is that E.T.'s finger would heal you. Well, in reality, it would disintegrate you. It would boil you down to nothing. So that supposedly, and this is for entertainment purposes only, is a narrative of the CIA briefing Steven Spielberg, and then he came out with the movies Close Encounters of the Third Kind and also the movie E.T. So what about all these zombie movies? Does Hollywood know something we don't know? Is that something that's coming upon the earth? Zombie like, the dead raising, maybe being possessed by demons or people contracting some type of COVID disease, which takes out your nervous system. We've seen the druggies out there in California, how some of this fentanyl stuff makes you react or it kills you. So anyways, that is the whole conspiracy narrative. Yeah, so, oh my goodness, so much to talk about. I hope everyone's doing well out there. This was a test run. I really appreciate everybody kind of chiming in. I believe this is being aired right now on my Facebook profile page. So if you haven't followed me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook, Brian Sawyer, and that will lead to all the other pages, the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series, the Bigfoots of America podcast show. This is also airing, I believe, live on our YouTube channel. I'm sorry. I just read this. We need more bomb. I appreciate that. Janny, Medic Bigfoot, we need more bomb. Bigfoot's of Michigan, brother. We have so much stuff to edit. And yes, you are getting a ton more bomb. We have a whole season 3 coming out there. Yeah, check out our season 1, season 2 on our YouTube channel. We're almost to 50 episodes on our Bigfoots of America podcast show. And we've got more and more stuff coming at you. So I don't even know. So I'm looking to see how long we've been recording right now. Wow, it's going on 9 o'clock already. Wait. So it says 9 o'clock right now is going to do an hour show. We'll throw one more thing at you, which I think is totally cool before we get off here. So everybody knows about Bigfoot howls, but you also know about what's called tree knocks. Well, guess what? Matthew Sexton, one of my eyewitnesses, and also the Mountain Man, who was recently on the Bigfoots of America podcast show, who has eyewitnessed Sasquatch make the tree knocking sound from its vocal cords, from its mouth. And that's how they talk and communicate with each other, with clicks and pops as well. So with that all said, we got a ton more information like this coming out there. Man, so much more fun coming. And I really appreciate everybody tuning in to Bigfoots of Michigan TV series and the Bigfoots of America podcast show. And yeah, just kind of stay tuned for more things coming. And we'll see you next time. Bye.